Bhagavad Lila, chapter 74, Deliverance of Sisupala at the Rajasuya sacrifice. In chapter 74, the Brahmanas worship Krishna with the Agra Puja. During the Rajasuya sacrifice, Krishna beheads Sisupala and Duryodhana's pride is injured. King Yudhisthira said, "The exalted spiritual masters of the three worlds, like Sanaka, the directors of universal affairs, like Brahma, Shiva, and Indra, and all the inhabitants of the planets carry your orders upon their heads, my dear Lord Sri Krishna. It is certainly a disgrace for us that you, my dear Lord, accept the orders of us low-class persons. People will mock us for making the Supreme Lord Himself our order carrier. Even though you execute the orders of jivas like us, you, my dear Lord Krishna, do not suffer any loss of position. Because all your forms are only the Lord, with similar quality, you are called one, Eka. Because Maya and the jivas are your energies, Shaktis, there is nothing different from you. Therefore you are called Advitiyasya. Advitiyasya. Without a second. How is it possible for you to ever lose your exalted position? Moreover, though you are all-pervading absolute truth, there is no reduction in your position. Since you are the super-soul controlling all the jivas, you cannot possibly come under the regulation of such a jiva as myself. Vishwanath. Verse 4, King Yudhisthira makes this statement out of humility. In fact, Krishna is controlled by his devotees, but this does not diminish the Lord's position in the least. Rather, this is Krishna's greatest exaltation, because it reveals the profound mercy of Krishna, which he is always exhibiting. Yudhisthira's words that Krishna is like the sun, yata rave, implies that God never decreases his power, just as the sun shines on earth, on the home of a dog-eater, as well as illuminating the home of the supreme demigod Brahma on the top of Sumeru mountain. Krishna said, "But Yudhisthira, why are you not thinking that since I am thus the Supreme Lord, why are you not thinking it is improper for me to be engaging in such low activities?" Yudhisthira replies, "O unconquerable one, Ajita, even your devotees do not have the perverted intelligence of ignorant men who think like animals in terms of I and mine, you and yours. And being vastly learned, I am the best and need not follow anyone's order. Nor do devotees think, because you have no scriptural knowledge, you are a fool, must render service to everyone else. My dear Lord, your devotees have no material mentality of making distinctions, so their mentality is purely spiritual. What then to speak of your mentality, Bhagavan?" In the springtime, Yudhisthira appointed a Brahmana to conduct the sacrifice. Many exalted, illustrious Brahmins were engaged in that sacrifice, including Krishna Dvaipayana, Bharadwaj, Gautam, Asita, Vashishta, Chavin, Kanva Maitreya, Vishwamitra, Jaimini, Kratu, Paila, Parashara, Garga, Ashyap, Domya, and many others. The Brahmanas purified the sacrificial arena by plowing it with a golden plow and performing various rituals. They purified Yudhisthira through initiation. There were elaborate golden utensils everywhere. The Kinnaras and Devas and charanas and earthly kings that came were not astonished to see the abundance of golden utensils, as was previously seen in the ancient Rajasuya performed by Lord Varuna. Because they simply thought, what is impossible for Krishna's devotee like Maharaj Yudhisthira? As the demigods performed the Rajasuya of Varunadev, the priests performed the sacrifice for Yudhisthira. Yudhisthira worshipped the priests on the day of extracting the somaras. The members of the assembly were thinking over who should be worshipped first. The undecided members of the assembly were the less intelligent ones, and not such exalted personalities as Brahma, Shiva, and Dvaipayana Vyasadeva. These particular members of the assembly, they thought, since no one today is asking our opinion, why should we say anything? Furthermore, Sahadeva is here, and he is renowned for his sharp skill in analyzing all sorts of circumstances. He can help appoint the person who should be worshipped first. Only if Sahadeva does not speak or cannot understand the situation will we speak up, despite no one's having inquired from us. Having made up their minds in this way, these great personalities, Brahma, Shiva, Dvaipayana Vyasadeva, remain silent. Harati yachita shaistyam bhagavan satvatam pati eshavai devata sarva deshakala danadaya. Sahadeva said, Achyuta Sri Krishna factually possesses supremacy in both the absolute and relative sense. It goes without saying that Krishna is supreme among all demigods, sacred places, and time and wealth. Hiratmakam idam vishvam kratavascha yad atmaka agnirahutayo mantra sankyam yogascha yat paraha eka eva dvitiyo sava Itat atmyam idam jagat atmanatma shreya sabhya srijat yavati hantyaja. Krishna alone is the aim of Jnana and Ashtanga Yoga. Krishna is one without a second, and nothing is different from Krishna, since Krishna is one with everything. O members of the assembly, being his own shelter, Atma Ashraya, Krishna is not dependent on anyone else. As the original unborn Lord, Krishna creates, maintains, and destroys the universe. If you have differing opinions, then present them, and I, Sahadeva, will settle them. Sahadeva continued. By the mercy of Sri Krishna, all the karmic activities of the entire world and their fruits as well are realized. For this reason alone, it is proper to worship Krishna first. Furthermore, by Krishna's mercy alone, on this planet Earth, one can perform austerities, yoga, and other practices for self-realization. And from Krishna alone, all people gain auspicious results in their pursuit of Dharma. Both the activities and the result depend on Krishna. This principle applies not only to this time and this kingdom, but for all times and all places. Dwelling within every living being, Krishna sees nothing separate from himself. After hearing the delivery of Sahadeva, everyone in the assembly exclaimed, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhuati Satama. Excellent, excellent, wonderful dissertation. Hearing the Brahmana's pronouncement, excellent, excellent, Yudhishthira understood that the assembly approved, so he offered the first puja to Krishna. A messenger from Yudhishthira came to meet Lord Krishna at the entrance of the Rajasuya sacrifice, and the messenger said, "My dear Lord Krishna, now you are absorbed in the duty of washing everyone's feet as they arrive at the Rajasuya Yajna, which you have taken upon yourself. But King Yudhishthira wants to demonstrate the truth, being very eager to wash the feet of you who are actually worthy of worship by all, including Brahma and Shiv. Therefore, please quickly go there." Yudhishthira then worshipped Rishikesh Krishna, the attractor of all his senses, by bathing Krishna's feet. In loving anger, Krishna protested, No, don't do this, don't do this." After bathing Krishna's feet, Maharaj Yudhishthira sprinkled the water on his own head and the heads of his family members. His eyes were brimming with tears, which prevented him from directly looking at Sri Krishna. Sisupala was intolerant and infuriated to hear the qualities of Krishna being glorified. He stood up from his seat and angrily waved his arms, fearlessly addressing the assembly. So why didn't Sisupala protest while Krishna was being worshipped? But he waited until the worship was concluded, because his intention in keeping quiet during the worship and speaking only afterwards is herein revealed. Sisupala was thinking, if I object before the worship starts and give many reasons why Krishna is ineligible, I certainly cannot be defeated in argument. Upon hearing my points, the assembly will stop worshipping Krishna and worship a qualified person instead. Then the sacrifice will proceed properly. I remain silent for now, but after Krishna is worshipped, I will re-establish his lack of qualification, and thus demonstrate how the sacrifice is now spoiled because they offered the first worship, Agra Puja, to an unqualified person, namely Krishna. After fulfilling my desire amidst cries of dismay, I will depart with my associates, allied kings, learned Brahmins, and relatives like Duryodhana, after I have frustrated and ruined this intended Rajasuya sacrifice. Because the Smritis say, Apuja yatra pujante, pujanam cha vyatikrama. In the place where those who are not to be worshipped are worshipped, there is offense to those who are actually worshipable. Improperly understanding who is to be worshipped and who is not to be worshipped will impede one's progress in life. Sisupala said, after the conclusion of the Agra Puja to glorify Krishna, O leaders of the assembly, do not accept the words of a child, Sahadev, by which Krishna was selected for the first worship. Now Vishwanath Chakravarti, he is indicating that actually Saraswati entered the tongue of Sisupala, and what he said in Sanskrit can also be taken in a different meaning, rather than being blasphemy and chastising and ridicule of Krishna. It can be seen as and translated, interpreted as actual glorification. So the previous statement, where he was saying that don't accept the words of a child, a young man like Sahadev, who's suggested you all to worship Krishna, you should not listen. But Saraswati says that Sisupala said, do not regard Sahadev's words as child's words, or words of a mere child. Sahadev's statements are factually the words of the Vedas. Sisupala continues by speaking in an attempt to win the assembly members over to his side by flattering them with words like Tapo Vidya in text 33. Sisupala, he calls Krishna a disgrace to his dynasty because Krishna killed his uncle Kamsa. But these same words they can imply Kulapam Amsana, which can apply to Kamsa, but they can also mean that refer to Krishna as the destroyer of those who speak bad words. And in this text 34, Sisupala compared Krishna to a crow by saying Yata Kaka. But these words may be divided as Yata Akaka. Then it means that Krishna is forever situated on the pure transcendental platform. He's beyond all material happiness, Ka, and misery, Aka. Finally, Sisupala was right in text 34 when he said that Krishna was completely transcendental to all material dualities, does not deserve merely the rice cake and other items that are offered to lesser demigods like Indra during this yajna. Rather, Krishna deserves the offering of one's very life and soul. In text 35, actually throughout these texts where Sisupala is speaking, Saraswati is making him speak phrases and sentences which can be taken in two ways. And one way is that it's criticism of Krishna, and the second way is the praises with the same Sanskrit words. So in text 35, one way Sisupala criticized by saying, Krishna as a person was transgressed Varna, Ashram and Kula. But the inside meaning is, Krishna is the person obtained as a son by Vasudeva, who is a strict follower of the standards of Varna, Ashram and Kula. And then Sisupala says, Sarva Dharman Bahishkrita Swairya. By this, Sisupala is saying, Krishna is devoid of all religious behavior and moves independently. But another meaning is, because Krishna is the supreme controller, therefore he acts independently of everyone. Krishna is beyond the gunas, material qualities, such as sattva, because Krishna's nature is situated in pure transcendental goodness. How can such a person deserve mere ordinary worship that is given to mortals and devas? Krishna deserves complete surrender by everyone. In text 36, listen, kings, the Yadus are addicted to wantonly drinking liquor. But the inner meaning is, as rulers, the Yadus have become absorbed in pan, which can mean drinking liquor, or pana means protecting the earth. Considering this, how does Krishna, the chief of the Yadus, deserve useless worship? Rather, he deserves the most opulent worship. Sisupala says, these Yadus are thieves, taking shelter in a fortress within the ocean called Dwarka, which is devoid of Brahminical potency. Therefore they harass all their subjects. Alternate meaning. After abandoning the district of Mathura, because it provided no protecting fortress, they took shelter of a fortress within the sea called Dwaraka, which is full of Brahminical potency, Brahma Tejo Mayam, Brahma Varachasam. Now they suppress unlawful persons like us, who have been born with great power. Praja. As a lion listens to the cries of a jackal without responding, Krishna listened to Sisupala without replying. As Nrsingadev hears the prayers spoken by Shiva, but remains silent because there is nothing more auspicious, Krishna remains silent, hearing these praises, which are of course unintentional, by Sisupala. Hearing these blasphemous statements, the assembly cursed Sisupala. "Oh, Sisupala, you should die immediately." Then everyone left the hall. Then there's the verse number 40. Nindam Bhagavata Shrinvams Tatparasya Janasya Va Tato Na Paitya Sopi Yatyada Sukritachtuta. Anyone who fails to immediately leave the place where he hears criticism of the Supreme Lord or his faithful devotee will certainly fall down, bereft of his pious credit. So this verse gives scriptural evidence by Shukadeva to support the Yadavas leaving the hall at the onset of the Rajasuya sacrifice. The sons of Pandu, headed by Bhima, Arjuna, became very angry at Sisupala, and they sprang to their feet. Sisupala took out his sword and shield and hurled insults at those who sided with Krishna. At that point, Sri Krishna stood up and checked his devotees from attacking Sisupala. Then Krishna angrily sent his razor-sharp chakra, Sudarshan disc, to sever the head of Sisupala as he was trying to attack. Why did Krishna stand up? Because he was thinking. Krishna's intention was, if I remain silent, then they will fight amongst each other and fill the sacrificial arena with blood. And if I mount my chariot and fight Sisupala with my army, then also this place will become contaminated by blood. Either way, the Rajasuya sacrifice of my dearmost Yudhisthira will be spoiled. Reconciliation at this point is too difficult because Sisupala will not hear or listen or change his mind or behavior. Therefore, I must do the needful. Deciding thus, Krishna stood up immediately and cut off Sisupala's head with his razor-sharp disc in such a way that when the head was cut off, not even a drop of blood fell within the sacrificial arena. Bhagavan Sri Krishna ki jai. An effulgent light rose from Sisupala's body and entered the body of Sri Krishna. That effulgent light, containing the eternal spiritual body within it, rose in the sky all the way up to Vaikuntha. After appreciating the non-difference of Vaikuntha-nath and Sri Krishna, it again merged with Krishna, like a comet fall from the sky. Sisupala remained within or inside Krishna until the end of Lord's earthly pastimes at Prabhasa Kshetra. And then Sisupala returned to the side of his master, the Supreme Lord of Vaikuntha, because he's Jai and Vijay. Jai and Vijay, for the service of the Lord, they took 3 births, posing as demons externally: Haranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Ravana and Kumbhakarna, Sisupala and Dantavakra, and some people say also Jagai and Madhai. They're all these 3 or 4 appearances were different appearances of these 2 Vaikuntha-vasis, gatekeepers of Lord Narayan, Sri Vishnu, known as Jai and Vijay. Someone might ask the question, how could such a blasphemer as Sisupala enter the body of Lord Vasudeva? By absorbing his thoughts and enmity of Lord Krishna for 3 births, Sisupala attained a similar form as the Lord. Sisupala regained his position as a personal associate of the Lord in Vaikuntha. The reason is given. One's thoughts, bhava, are the cause of attaining bhavakaranam, the next body. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.147 says, Vairānubandha tivrena Janen Achyuta Satmatam Nito Punarhari Parshwam Dragmatur Vishnu Parshado. These two associates, Lord Vishnu, Jai and Vijay, maintained a feeling of enmity for a very long time. Because of always thinking of Krishna in this way, they regained the shelter of the Lord, having returned home back to Godhead. So the sacrifice was performed, everyone was happy and satisfied, successful sacrifice. Demigods came and returned to their homes, and there was a Shruti fal given at the end of the chapter. This deliverance of Sisupala, the Rajasuya sacrifice, the Shruti fal for hearing this. Chapter 75. Ya idam kirtayed Vishno karma chaidya vad adikam rajamoksham vitanam cha sarvapape pramuchyate. One who recites these activities of Lord Vishnu, including the killing of Sisupala, the deliverance of the kings, and the performance of the Rajasuya sacrifice, such a person who recites these will be freed from all sins. Krishna Tulya Bhagavata Vibhu Sarvashrai Prati Shloke Prati Akshari Nana Artakai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Srimad Bhagavatam is as great as Krishna himself, the Supreme Lord, and the shelter of everything. And each and every verse and syllable, Shloke Akshari, of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Nana Artakai, there are multifaceted meanings, for it is as infinite as Krishna. Premamaya Bhagavata Krishna Rashriyanga Tahate Kahena Jata Gopya Krishna Ranga. Mahaprabhu said, the Srimad Bhagavatam is full of Krishna Prem. It is not different from the beautiful body of Krishna, and the Srimad Bhagavatam is a part of Krishna himself, for the Bhagavat describes Krishna's confidential pastimes, Gopya Krishna Ranga, Premamaya Bhagavat, Krishna Shriyanga. Adi Madhye Ante Bhagavate Kai Vishnu-bhakti Visiddha Akshaya Avyaya. Mahaprabhu said, in the beginning, middle, and end, the Bhagavatam speaks only of Krishna Bhakti, Vishnu Bhakti. As such, this Bhagavatam is eternally present. This literature of Bhagavatam is eternally perfect, infallible, and infinite, because it contains all truths pertaining to the infinite, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Adi Madhye Ante Bhagavate Kai Vishnu Bhakti Nityasira Akshaya Vyai. Bhagavata Shastre se Bhaktir Tattva Kahe Tini Bhagavata Sama Kona Shastra Nahi. Mahaprabhu said, since the Bhagavatam speaks exclusively of the truth of pure devotional service, Bhakti Tattva, it is unparalleled among the Shastras, Bhagavat Sama. No other scripture can compare with the Srimad Bhagavatam. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.